We're just minutes away from President Biden's primetime address on the coronavirus pandemic. He is expected to tout the massive COVID-19 relief bill he just signed into law earlier today and applaud his own administration's efforts in getting vaccines into the arms of millions of Americans. It's been an incredible undertaking. More than 95 million vaccines have been administered since December. But I'm pretty sure Biden wasn't in office in December or half of January. So will Biden credit his predecessor tonight, or will we be hearing more of this?
I would love to tell you that we inherited a situation where there were stockpiles and stockpiles of vaccines sitting there. That is not the case.
There was no stockpile. In many ways, we're starting from scratch on something that's been raging for almost an entire year.
It's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office.
There really was no plan to ramp up the supply of those vaccines, so there wasn't enough vaccine.
Joining me now, Dr. Ben Carson, former HUD secretary. Dr. Carson, how are you?
I'm doing well, Trey. Good to be with you.
Thank you. You know, Doc, you're a lot nicer person than I am. It infuriates me because you dedicated your entire life to taking care of people. That has been your life mission. And the notion that a bunch of lawyers are going to take credit for work that you and others helped with, participated with. I mean, what's your response when you hear the chaos that they inherited?
Well, obviously, I'm very disappointed to hear that. I know how hard people work as a member of the task force. Sometimes I wondered if certain members of the task force ever slept. They were so vigilant. And, you know, to be able to get that vaccine in place in record time, in less than a year, is absolutely phenomenal. Millions of lives were saved because of that. And the logistics, of course, are going to be more difficult at the beginning, and they smooth out as things go on, and that's exactly what happened. And, you know, I give the Biden administration credit for building on what was there already, but to say that there was nothing there and that it was in shambles is symptomatic of the times in which we live, where the sides just can't seem to bring themselves to give any credit to each other. Why don't we build on what each other does rather than just constantly criticize and try to tear people down? It's going to destroy us as a nation if we don't learn that lesson.
Yeah, I don't know why this can't be an American moment. I mean, Americans worked together to do something people thought was impossible, which is produce a vaccine, and we're getting it into people's arms. And there's enough credit to go around. I don't get it. We got about a minute and a half left. I want to ask you about school openings or reopenings and whether or not you think students are safe with in-classroom learning.
Well, you know, my whole life has been around children as a pediatric neurosurgeon with Carson scholars, with a whole host of things that we did at HUD with lead and various other things. And I'm horrified that children are out of school. And that is impacting the trajectory of their lives, what they're going to be able to accomplish. And no one seems to care that much about that. In medicine, we do analysis by looking at what are the benefits and what are the risks. Well, we know the benefits are enormous for going to school, and the risk, as science tells us, are very low. So it should be a no-brainer to figure out what to do in these cases. And these children are being robbed of something that will improve their lives for a lifetime. You know, let me just segue that to what we're doing to their future in terms of enormous debt. They're going to have to pay it back. You know, the people who sit there smoking their cigars and having a good time and laughing about all this debt that we're adding, what can they be thinking?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Speaking of debt, we owe you and other physicians a debt, all of us do, for doing what was impossible, which is creating a vaccine in record time and getting it into the arms of Americans. So thank you, Dr. Carson.
Absolutely. A pleasure. Thank you.